If you listen to the show, you already know that we cannot exist without our sponsors. They are the ones who make things happen behind the scenes. So let's acknowledge Fuji Sports. We've been working with these guys for a while now, not only as far as this podcast is concerned, but also at the Rol Academy. We've had their gear. I personally use their gis. What a phenomenal product.
Yeah, I mean, Jiu Jitsu, Judo, MMA, tape, bags, anything you need for your Jiu Jitsu journey, you can find at fujisports.com.
Let's talk Rol TV. There's so much content on there. It's ridiculous at this point. But I think what is even more intriguing, as time went on during the project, we've been recording most of the events that were taking place here at Rol Academy. At this point, I mean, we have guys like Chris Howder, Armin Fati, Rafael Lovato Sr., and Pete the Greek. I mean, there are so many different events that we've kind of recorded it. Don't you think that's amazing? I mean, points of reflection and kind of going back for all the students to see what really happened and refresh their memory.
Yeah, I think it's great, you know, being able to go back and look at all these high-level practitioners, Octavio Cudo, like one of the names you didn't mention. And I mean, just these guys that have been doing this for so long come in, teach these amazing seminars and workshops, and it's all recorded and there for you to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to get additional savings on all this, type in code Rol Radio at the coupon and get additional 30% off of your membership.
Nice. Go to rolacademy.tv. What's up, everyone, and welcome back. If you haven't already, please remember to hit the like, share, subscribe, download, listen, and whatever other button there is, and leave us a review wherever you do listen. That ensures that we can continue bringing you the great guests and amazing content that you have come to expect. Considered one of the best lightweight competitors of all time, Vitor Shaolin has amassed a phenomenal jiu-jitsu record as well as an impressive MMA record, having fought in multiple MMA organizations. Today, Vitor discusses his start in jiu-jitsu, his passion for competition, and why he tells his students that this is the worst time ever to start jiu-jitsu. Here's the Rol Radio with the owner and instructor at Vitor Shaolin BJJ, 6-time world champion, and 6th degree jiu-jitsu black belt, Vitor Shaolin Ribeiro.
Welcome to Rol Radio.
And we are live.
There we go.
And another episode of the Rol Radio.
We're almost, we're getting up there, man. 150 is right around the corner.
It's 150 right around the corner.
Cool.
Good stuff going on, right? A lot of good conversations. And if you guys have been listening to this show for last few episodes, particularly, we're doing new things. We're giving t-shirts for some feedback that you guys are happy to provide. And we've been getting some cool notes about different episodes, right? If you have a favorite episode, make sure you go to our website, drop the number of the best episode, the name, and what was impactful about that episode to you. And then we'll be drawing not only t-shirts, but we're giving a subscription to the Rol TV. So,
I forgot.
Yeah, we're throwing that in there.
Yeah,
we're throwing that in there. So, you know, there is a value behind it for simple just sharing what you liked. Or maybe what you didn't like. I don't know. I mean, that's fine too. I mean,
don't hurt my feelings.
I'm all about this. Yeah. By the way, congratulations on putting the desk together. I was very impressed with your handy skills.
Yeah. I needed your assistance though. I was telling Margaret that things went well until the very end there, where I put the slides on the drawers backwards, and I would have done every single drawer and every single slide backwards, but you were there to. You did yours correctly, so I just followed your template.
Yeah.
So we have 2 offices now, 2 functioning offices here at the Academy. If I take you into the one with the door or with the ceiling, right? They both have doors, only one.
Then
is
you're
in
trouble.
Yeah, well, we got something to talk about, right?
Step into the office.
All right.
Should we start this?
Yeah, I think so.
Let's bring our guest in, Vitor Shaolin in the house. I mean, one of the probably, and I don't know how you feel about this, but one of the biggest names in the jiu-jitsu competition that at least I have, that's my thoughts about you in particular. The impact that you've made on a jiu-jitsu competition in the last decade or so, it's quite impressive. Do you see yourself as a person that has made that kind of impact?
I think I belong to a group of people. I believe on the, early 90s, towards to the end of 90s, and beginning of 2000.
Hold on, we're losing you.
Yeah.
You guys see me? Yeah, you guys see?
Yeah. Hold on one. Just keep.
Guys?
Did your phone fall over?
You guys hear me okay?
Yeah,
we're
now
good.
we are
We're
good.
back.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I think I belong to a group, a group of people, and I can list a couple names where, I think when the whole IBJJF start with major competitions, nationals and world championship, I was right there around that time. And the media, the media in Brazil start, and small videos, and then Americans start coming to Brazil to start recording and bring back in geese. I think I belong to that generation, and I think together with some other people, I feel we impact a lot the jiu-jitsu in the beginning, you know what I mean? And then because came right away after some really old school guys. And then I think my generation with Robson Moura, Léo Vieira, Tererê, so many good names around that time. And I think like I have a little bit I have my how can I say my contribution, me with jiu-jitsu. I believe in the beginning of 2000.
Do you find yourself, do you ever sit back and kind of reflect on, it was cool to be, or is cool to be part of that group that shaped the competition in the early 2000s?
Yeah, no, it's awesome, man. It's awesome. And I think when I do interviews, or when I find some people, they start jiu-jitsu because you, or they come to me and say, hey, I remember I used to watch your videos, one of the videos, one of your fights against this guy or that guy. I got this, today they call Darcy, but I used to call Shaolin Choke, like a, things like that is kind of like a cool to hear, because you probably like you don't know how many people you motivate to start or to keep going, but it's good to hear, your work, all right, something you even don't know you're doing, really help you to keep going on, really help people to keep going, and then, maybe today do this for living as well, or even go into different directions,
So how did it all start? Do you remember your very first day on the mat?
I remember, of course, was March 11 of 1993.
Oh wow, the actual
everything.
date. Wow. So
Yeah.
that had to be a big day.
Yes, no, it's a big day, but this year, 2023, I complete like a 30 years of jiu-jitsu. Everything starts. I think I was very into martial arts from the beginning. I did it, judo, taekwondo, Muay Thai, and in some point, I think I was bored, with some martial arts, but the whole thing about kicking and punching, watching cartoons, watching movies, always catch people's attention. And then I was doing Muay Thai for a little while, and I get in a fight with someone, and then that person, we used to do luta livre. Luta livre is, similar with jiu-jitsu back in the days without the gi in Brazil. We used to have a big rivalry between those two styles, luta livre and jiu-jitsu. They used to wear pants and belt and no top, and then we used to wear gi, and then probably like the biggest names in jiu-jitsu, Murilo, and and so many good names fought, all right, to defend the name, to really protect the jiu-jitsu name back in the days. And then, but the rivalry, kept going for a very long time. And then I ended up getting a fight with this kid, like maybe 2 years older than me, 1 year older than me. And then I remember he took me down, mount, and he punched me. He did it everything, and I realized I have no clue about jiu-jitsu at all. And that's kind of like a really lead to the gym in my neighborhood. I had a friend advised me to go there. I remember I learned armbar, cross choke, Americana, and how to open bar. And that's it. That's all I need. And then, months and months of struggle. All right. Being the lighter guy on the mat with 14 years old and not having enough size to deal with 19 and 20 years old and even older people. But in some point, there's something, keep saying to me to keep going, keep going. And then little by little, I start making friends there. And little by little, I start, really leave the friends in school to spend more time in the gym. And months, in 2 months, I remember one of the guys used to do the cleaning, invited me to compete the first national my coach did, called Mamiluki, and back in Rio, before IBJJF, all right, before 1994. And then I competed as a yellow belt, got a second place. I remember someone a little older tell to me, hitting my shoulder, hey kid, you did really well. And that's all I need. I got this. Next day I was there training. And in school in Brazil, we go 7:30 to 12:30. So you have the whole day after that to do whatever, And some kids, they do good things. Some kids, they do bad things. I end up putting a lot of time in the gym, after finishing school, go home, eat something. And by 3:30, start. And then you stay there from 3:30 to 5. And then you eat something, walk around, and come back to the gym for another session, 7:30 to 9:30. Very popular in Brazil. Back in the days, they have two hour session, hour and a half, 2 hour session. And then I did that for several weeks, 14, 15 years old. Body never get tired, never get hurt. And you keep going, and you don't need much. I remember it used to be hard to clean the gi. Sometimes I used to have the gi dirty, what I mean, more than one time. And but was a good time. And then little by little, I started making some real friends over there, connecting a lot with my coach. My coach is 12 years older than me, and is a person I have deep admiration. But the admiration was growing little by little. I didn't really spend a lot of time with him right away in the beginning because he's a little older, but little by little he saw how much I think I want, and little by little we start create that friendship. And then you just became part of me. Everything I was doing, always have some jiu-jitsu related friends, and go out with people, do jiu-jitsu competition. Beach, I have, everything has something about jiu-jitsu. And then that's it. And then at some point when you see yourself, you're just a more jiu-jitsu guy than anything else. And then you just become part of you.
So it's clear that jiu-jitsu, it wasn't just a thing that you did, just activity. It was really part of who you are and what you were doing, even as a young individual, as a young teenager, or as a young man. Have you ever thought about what your life would look like without jiu-jitsu? If you never stepped on the mat, if you never connected with those people, if you've never connected with your instructor, like what would you be doing now?
I have no clue. I never like today, if you ask me, or tell me which are the things you have interest in. I devote so much of my time and my thoughts and my body into try to be the best I can do with myself. So I never put too much time on different things. Even today, when I'm thinking about do something else, or I'm thinking about maybe start a new business, I have to be something related with jiu-jitsu. I have to be something, related with something where I feel like, okay, I'm stepping on something I don't know so well, but jiu-jitsu involved. I have no clue at all. If you ask, oh, Charlie, you're gonna be a cop, or you're gonna be driving truck. I have no clue. I think that the time I started jiu-jitsu, I always was a guy into the body, into movement, into sports. I play soccer, I swimming, I run, what I mean. I did a lot of different things. I believe if I have to guess something, I will be guessing maybe I'll be doing something related to sport. Some type of maybe team sport, maybe maybe something with sport, maybe not fighting. You know what I mean? Definitely, I can see myself as a wrestler. If you wrestle in Brazil, you know what I mean? We have a big culture in wrestling. You know what I mean? It's another sport that really has, very big appreciation too. But, it's jiu-jitsu is part of me, and, the way I'm thinking, the way I'm zoned out sometimes, the way I'm only can think about that sweep now, why I didn't hit that sweep and how much that sweep is important for me. I think I think if today some parents, they put in kids in jiu-jitsu, to making sure they can do activity or to making sure they can grow up and knowing how to defend themselves. It's funny, like I came jiu-jitsu to learn how to defend myself, to learn how to do the ground and taking down. But at some point it becomes so much bigger than that, and then but so much bigger is even hard to describe. The impact jiu-jitsu have my life and the people surround me, and the way sometimes with the experience jiu-jitsu gave me, how sometimes I can help other people. I can imagine like any other job, you know what I mean, with the impact maybe I'm having. Maybe the only thing I can imagine, or maybe a good teacher, you know what I mean, as someone can really like a touch on kids, in a certain age, and then can really showing to them maybe the right path or saying to them the good things. I think professors, teachers, they can impact in people's life in a really good way too. I think like probably it'll be something related to that, but it's very hard. Like this is one of the questions I have the toughest time to answer, because when I start jiu-jitsu and I make this my life, I have no plan B's at all. It's all about doing and doing and doing and doing more and doing more. So you can ask it for anybody. Oh, someone ask you to run, someone ask you to lift. Like I remember back then, early 2000s, end of 90s, you know what I mean, when physical preparation start and people start doing things more related to jiu-jitsu. I remember how much it was important for me making sure everything could stay on track. So I didn't want to waste any time with like a bunch of things kids around 20, 21 they do. I didn't want that. So it's tough. It's a really tough question to answer.
What's interesting, I think, about you is the fact that very early on, you've had a lot of success with competition, right? And if I'm not mistaken, as I was doing my research, shortly 3 years into your training, somewhere around 18, 19, you're winning your first world championship, and you're
Yeah.
going through that route. So one thought I would love to pick your brain is, why competition? Why is that so driving for you? Why is there so much passion behind that? And let's start with that.
Okay, competition. I think that's what makes jiu-jitsu so popular. I remember doing Muay Thai, and Muay Thai they used to have like the sessions 1 hour, a lot of conditioning, and some days they have sparring, some days they didn't have sparring. And this little by little, after I start feeling more comfortable, I feel, man, I'm missing sparring, I'm missing sparring, I'm missing sparring. And in some point, when I start jiu-jitsu and I realize they have sparring every single day after position, conditioning, say, man, and then I start enjoying so much. And I think when I had chance to compete, to test myself against other people, I think it's all about like, at that age, 14, 15, 16 years old, when a boy feel a taste he never felt before, a taste he wants to feel again, a taste where in some point in his head he can really fill up the holes he have in mind. It becomes very addictive, you know what I mean? So that's the reason I keep saying to some ages is so important, the boy have, the right whole model, you know what I mean, in front of him. Because maybe the same kid with empty head, with the bad friends, he'll be feeling a taste of something, and maybe that something is not going to give him the power, you know what I mean, the confidence, competition and training gave me, gonna give him a different type of feeling where he can put his life downhill. So I think what happened for me was that I felt like a something when I won my first fight, when I submit the first teenager with a Kimura, a sensation like is impossible to describe. And remember, this around that time, I wasn't, hang out with girls yet. For me, it was the most incredible sensation I can feel as a 14 years old. So that's the reason, like when I start doing competition and I start doing well, so I became black belt when I was 17 years old. All right. So I started in March of 93. And then I got my black belt in 96, October 96. So for me, things have happened very young. All right. I retired about jiu-jitsu. My last world championship was in 2001 after become three-time world champion, because I was looking for a different type of competition, because the competition I was doing, I'm not saying it became easy, but it's just didn't really looks gonna move forward. It's gonna be another medal, another medal, another medal. We didn't have, what those kids they have today, Grand Prix and flow grappling, sponsor this, sponsor. We didn't have all that. So that's the reason I moved to MMA. But the competition was like, even sometimes I tell to my students, hey, look, guys, I think you guys love jiu-jitsu much more than me, because I never knew how to train without having a goal, without having something. Even today, I'm an old guy, and then I'm still, of course, competition is not my priority anymore. But one of the coolest things when I pick a competition, have my 3 or 4 months for training, and then start doing everything I have to do to making sure I can come and compete right, win or lose. So I think competition was one of the things making me feel in love with jiu-jitsu. And today, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard because jiu-jitsu can be for everybody, but competition is not for everybody. Some people, they really, really can handle the adrenaline and can handle the bad sleep and can handle the anxiety, can handle those feelings, can really, really chasing you every single time you're going to compete. And I think I'm okay with that. It's the only thing, like, my head maybe works a little bit different together with some other people's head too. So that's the reason I think I pick competition, just because it makes me feel well. It's not about any other thing. Like, I have a feeling, I felt something where, was making me feel really, really comfortable. And then I want to feel this every single time when I have a chance.
What do you love more? Do you love the competition more, or do you love jiu-jitsu more?
They have to be both together. I can't compete without training, and I can't do jiu-jitsu without thinking about compete. You know what I mean? I can be 1 year without compete. All right, no problem at all. But as soon as I start scratching and I start feeling I want something, I need to compete. It's not like something like I used to do back in the days, where compete in different weekends, different styles, wrestling, gi. So today, completely different. Today, when I say competition, I just compete when I feel like it. It's not something I have to do every weekend. But the ways I'm thinking about my school, the ways I'm thinking about my day, the ways I'm trying to make my chore, everything is a competition. Everything for me work in a way where, if I'm not having something supposed to do today, like for me, okay, let's go move the interview, let's go cancel this, let's go. No. We schedule, we do it. We have to do it as long as we can do this way, that way. So if in some point I change my schedule today, I think I lost something on my day. You know what I mean? So I think when I say compete, it's not just compete against other people, but compete against whatever happened in your life. And sometimes they want to beat you, and some point you keep you going through. When I say competition is more not just jiu-jitsu, but the jiu-jitsu competition helped me to compete with some other things in my life as well.
So there's a lot of students out there, around the world, who have the see the competition. They watch it, they like it, but they really have a difficulty with dealing some of the things that you talked about, dealing with the anxiety, thinking, what are other people will think about this. And we even had Gustavo Dantes in a conversation, which he's huge about that, right? How do you deal with that mental approach to the competition? Do you think that competition is necessary for students to do? Is that something they should be trying, challenging themselves that way?
So look, I believe for if you do this for living, of course. But if a student come, all right, start training, start, first few months he struggle, but he kept going, he kept going, kept going. At some point he starts smile, start doing well, start feeling more comfortable, lose some weight. You know what I mean? Start doing more classes, stay away from injuries, stay away from the things can really pull him down. I believe maybe one competition is not gonna hurt that student. But if he's completely against, he can go through all the way to black belt without ever compete before. All right, without no problem at all. But if I believe if that student want to pull the maximum experience of jiu-jitsu, he should try compete at least one or twice. Okay, I think this is at least to see how he's gonna behave, to see, okay, inside the gym on that like incredible environment, so protect. My coach watching everything, my partner trainers take care of me, this, that, this, that, this, that. So when everything is so happy and amazing, he can feel but how he gonna feel in an environment where he's not so welcome, where the guy looks super aggressive, where the guy, you know what I mean, trying to really like take him down, and he have to sprawl, and one sprawl he can really get tired, that type of thing. Okay, I believe, in my view, all right, of course, I respect people's opinion. In my view, is something, if that person wants to know a lot about himself, in my view, I think he should try. He should try.
How would you advise a student who wants to try it, but he goes through these, thoughts in their head that it's not about necessarily how skilled I am or what I know, but what's going to happen? How is the other guy going to do? How am I going to do against them? And there's a lot of stuff going on in our heads, especially beginning and very early on when we are just white belts, when we are just starting. A lot of those questions come up. How have you dealt with some of those things in your mind?
Okay, so back in the days is no information. Okay, back in the
Yeah.
days you train, coach will go over there, compete. When as soon as your coach starts seeing you getting a little better, maybe coach start coming to you, give a little bit pep talk here about this opponent. You know what I mean? Semi-final, final. But back in the days we didn't have so much. Today we have so much more understand about how start that young belt or that kid to a competition. I'm gonna suggest, all right. So first of all, you know what I mean, not training less than 3 or 4 times a week. So if you can commit with less than that, in my
Hold on, we are losing you. Hold on a
the
second.
right division.
Come back for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you there?
You hear me?
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah,
I'm here. Go back to if you have to commit to 4 times a week.
Yeah, so you have to come at least 3 or 4 times a week to making sure at least when you leave, all right, your gym to go to a tournament, you feel like you're not gonna guess out. But remember, even with 3 or 4 times a week, you still maybe gonna have chance to guess out. So if you have a chance to experience maybe going to the gym, all right, like I do some lifting, start enjoying doing some pull-ups, push-ups, you know what I mean? Like I just take care about your body. That's something I'm gonna recommend too, because you feel a little stronger. You feel you can use more your strength. You feel you can use more flexibility. Another thing gonna gonna push on your confidence as well. I think the third thing is like simulate situations. Simulate situations or have classes in your gym where your instructor can come and then tell, hey, this is gonna happen. The ref is gonna pull you this way or that way, and then you walk into to making sure that student, when he see all that happen, all right, he in his head he thinks, okay, I did this before. It's exactly what my coach saying. You know what I mean? Like, and then when you like situations where you specific training, you know what I mean? Like, okay, open guard. Open guard is so hard, but my coach said like, in the beginning can be very hard, but you can't give it up. You have to continue to try to open. My coach just said that, you know what I mean? So I know in the beginning it's going to be hard. So I think if you have a chance, not just for training, all right, to do some extra things and to have maybe a specific time where you can work with your coach and with your partner trainings, all right, things to make you feel more comfortable what you're going to face over there, I think you can have a chance to compete well. And remember, competition is not just about the gold medal, all right? I think some people, all right, I got second place in a tournament in my first time, and I got incredible happy. And then after that, I started getting first place and second, first, and second again. But the thing is, like just the amount of training I put in for every tournament, I think it making me so much better. So that's the thing I try to tell to students too. Some people, they feel, oh, okay, I'm gonna let you down, Shaolin, if I compete. But man, you're not gonna let me down. You already make me feel so proud because you, from all those trainings, grab that for all those. You're the only one who are here in bow, put your gi, and then start learning. You're the only one. Everybody else just keep talking. So for me, you're already here. So now you come here twice, 3 times a week. All right, your son is training, so you recognize how much is important jiu-jitsu. Now you bring your 10 years old for training too. So you never let me down if you keep doing what you're doing. All right, the only thing you're gonna let me down, all right, if you give me a word for something at some point, okay, Shaolin, I'm gonna compete, and then you're not training, and then you now lose the weight you're supposed to be lose. You're not doing this, and then you're breaking your word. But for me, if you say to me, Shaolin, I never want to compete, okay, no problem at all. How many people in my gym never compete or never became world champion, and they were so supportive in my career? They gave me the best training for open guard, for half guard, for this, for that, and I have no complaints about those people. I think each person inside your gym is part of your journey. And then the only thing you have to know how to really see each one there. You know, you don't need to come to somebody that doesn't like to compete and tease this guy. This guy maybe gonna be a great assistant instructor. He's maybe pass guard so well. Use this for him. Ask him tips. You know what I mean? Even without the idea about competition, but he can give you some technical ideas where can really help you. But I think some people, they don't see that way. You know what I mean? Some people, they only see competition. I like competition. It's my opinion, but I completely respect, all right, the people, they don't like to compete, and the people never compete. Even a black belt never compete before. I have no problem at all, because I believe this guy maybe he got good on something else. Like I compete a lot, and in some point, my self-defense game never got developed. And then what I did it, I went to Valente Brothers, to learn more from them. You know what I mean? So I think if each one can recognize, all right, I push more in this direction. This direction here is not so good. But now I need to learn more about that. My competition go a little bit on the side, and then I'm going to improve my self-defense here. And that's what I did. And then I push everyone to do the same. If you don't like to compete, just making sure inside the gym, drive your attention for maybe do something else over there at the gym, to making sure you can always supplement sometimes some people's training.
Speaking of competition and getting ready for them, oftentimes the conversation comes up about having right training partners to train for the fight, especially if there is a more serious approach to all of this. And I'm curious to pick your brain on this and get your thoughts on how have you dealt with the weight difference or the size differences. So for those who know you, I mean, you were on a smaller size. You competed, correct me if I'm wrong, by 76 kilos, right? That was your weight class typically?
Yes. I
So
compete
how,
light division, the light
yeah.
division.
So how,
Light division, I compete middleweight too. I compete those two divisions.
so what was your training methods? What was your training like? Training with some of the guys who are by far bigger than you, by far stronger than you. How have you dealt with it? Did you train with them at all, or did you avoid them at that point of time? What was your thoughts on all this?
I think first, when I start training on the collar belts, we didn't have a lot of choice, right? Whatever the guy comes to you, you go there and training. But in some point when I became black belt, In the first part of the training, first period, or maybe you have 2-3 months for training, you can train with whatever the person wants. You can train with the heavy guys, lighter guys, you know what I mean? But sometimes when the train is getting a little bit closer to the event, you want to try to stick more with people, similar size or a little like a one division above, just to making sure you avoid chances to get hurt. You know what I mean? And I was like in the middle, you know what I mean? I wasn't so much the lighter guy. The lighter guy I was when I was younger, but I wasn't the heavy guy either. So I think I had a lot of options, or like the featherweight used to be a good training for me. The middleweight used to be a good training for me. The only thing, like sometimes training for a guy super heavy, like over 220, 230, sometimes when you start losing weight for a tournament, and I always lost a lot of weight for tournaments, it's something, at some point can really push too much your body, you know what I mean? Because maybe not drinking enough water, maybe not eating so well, maybe your level of attention is a little bit slow, and then that's the reason we're trying to stay away from heavy guys. But sometimes, when I don't have competition coming up, I love to train with heavy people, because the heavy guy give you something the lighter guy doesn't give it to you, and then both people are important. The lighter guy going to give you maybe on your game a little bit more speed and mobility, and the heavy guy going to help you to understand, you know what I mean, like how much you need to use your speed and strength in some situations to making sure you can control all that size, you know what I mean, like so I think like avoid a heavy guy all year. That's something I don't like. I have several problems sometimes with people I know avoiding heavy people, or maybe avoid getting a little click and just training between them. I'm not a big fan of that, you know what I mean? Because I think in the jiu-jitsu gym you should train with a lot of different people. And one time the guy, he's in advanced class and you never roll for him. You need to call him to roll. You need to experience him to roll. Experience some roll with him. So I think like for me, roll for heavy guy is important. Roll for lighter guy is important. Some size guy is important. But you just need to manage well when you're gonna train with each one, to making sure you can take the best from each one for your training.
Why do you think people avoid then training with different sizes? Do you think it's a concern of getting hurt, or is just concern
Yeah,
with
some people, all right, assume they get a little older, they don't want to train sometimes with the younger heavy guy.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because they concerned about injury or something, or even worse, or they are concerned about the ego get hurt
Yeah.
by this guy submitting him. You know what I mean? They, like even if we talk a lot, even if we all the time we try and approach situations where you're supposed to be check your ego at the door, we still have a lot of people carrying a lot of ego. You know what I mean? And sometimes they see a blue belt, oh, this guy is not good enough. And then I did this before, like I have a blue belt and then putting him to go against a brown or black belt. And then the guys never rolled against that blue belt before. And that blue belt is like super good roll, amazing roll. And after the training, they come to me and say, whoa, he's super tough. Yeah, man, super tough. You need to call him more often to roll. I'm calling him a lot. He's small, but the way he moves his body, is really something for us, something we need to stay attentive, because it's very surprising. So I don't like when the attitude is weak. You know what I mean? This is something in the gym that's not good. Because the attitude is weak coming from the top, this is not going to have a good sign for the purple belts, the blue belts, the white belt. The attitude, they have to be strong. You have to be, okay, I'm tired. The guy coming to roll, I go, yeah, if I tap, he gets swept, you know what I mean? Whatever, man. It's just one more day. And tomorrow I'm here again. And then we go again tomorrow and let's see. But like, I don't like to see guys, just, okay, he's my professor. He stepped me 5 times, 6 times. I have no problem. But the blue belt tapped me 1 time or 2 times, I'm going to have a big problem. You know what I mean? So those type of things, I'm not a big fan. You know what I mean? You feel okay to tap it for somebody just because somebody is teaching you, but you don't want to roll against this guy because this guy, he's good, so he can catch you and roll for him. Those type of things, I'm not a big fan.
Speaking of tough trainings and tough roles, Do you remember one particular fight that it was so tough for you that it just stuck in your mind that it like to this day, maybe you look back at it, you smile, and it was like, damn, that was that was tough.
Definitely. I have few, but I think in training the gym, definitely my best partner training, and became good friend. We compete against each other twice. My best partner training was Robson Moura. All right, one of those guys I don't know if you guys ever interview him or the role for him. He's just something else. You can't describe today in words how technical and skill that little man was. Still is, but in his prime, competing and then training, lightest guy in the gym. He didn't have an option to have one or two guys in his size, the whole 30 people, 20 people in the class. And then, but those guys his size wasn't training for him. The training for him was guys my size, 20 kilos, 40 pounds heavier than him. And then he's just simply amazing. But competition, I think I said this several times, and today became a good friend of mine too. I think Léo Vieira, definitely, I think one of those names where, again, helping to shape, the jiu-jitsu as well, very gracious, all right, competing, teaching. But during his years, we fought 5 times. We fought gi, no gi, ADCC, Pro-Am. We fought at Worlds. We fought the different events. And then it's just it's surreal to the movements he's able to create. And remember, I never fought against Léo out of shape. So everything he got against me was probably the best shape of my life. So he's able to beat a very good Shaolin when he beat. So I think I fought against another good names too, lost for different people. But, all fights, I think, I saw mistakes. I saw why the guy did so well. But Liu, he pulled things from his head to where I didn't see come. Definitely I think my toughest opponent, and then a very creative guy. That's definitely one of the toughest opponents. The opponent, he does a lot of systematic things, so what's his next move. That's a tall opponent. You maybe gonna have a tough match, but you can fight against a guy like that. A guy when he create moves, a guy when he pull things where not supposed to be pulled, because it's not supposed to be done from there, he does anyway. That type of fighter became very dangerous. And I think Liu is very, very like this way.
Do you think that that's what creates jiu-jitsu, competition jiu-jitsu guys so successful? That creativity, that live creativity, is not the fact they are strong or fast or dynamic, or they really have a system down, is the fact that they can just create things on a spot, and it's so unpredictable.
Yeah, I believe this is one of the things I'm making people today. Today we have Instagram, YouTube, a bunch of things people can make promotion, but today you're able to see people's creativity on the mat, and you get so amazing by watching. But back then we didn't have we talk about a guy, maybe a guy, if you throw a guy today competing, he'll be doing so well as well. You know what I mean? So do what he did in back then was so impressive, and I believe that's creates a huge fan base, and then it's just attracting some other people as well. But remember, we don't have just him. We have a Terere, another name. I compete several times as well, and with his charisma and his jiu-jitsu, he just became one of the most well-known guys in the whole jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean? Not just as a teacher, but a huge competitor as well. So I think definitely creativity is something we're losing a little bit. All right, I believe back then we didn't have so much access to techniques. So when you see somebody competing and do something amazing or something nice, you go to the gym and then you practice, and then you pull variations from there. Your coach tell things from there. So today, a lot of answers on YouTube. Today, it's no more figure it out. All right. So any answer you want about anything is just one little click. I think this took a little while, took a little back the creativity. I
Do you,
think we still have some people, but I think we walk backwards a little bit.
do you think that that comes from the fact that we have so many instructionals, YouTube and other things, or do you think that the rule sets in the tournaments are more limited?
Just to stop, I think I'm not a huge fan of like the rule sets. Okay,
Yeah.
I think it today, the jiu-jitsu like became a little slower.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So when I see sports like wrestling, judo, where they try to keep, it's incredible like how a guy competing in the 90s, you know what I mean? Yeah, he noticed some difference in judo or wrestling, but it's not like a today in jiu-jitsu. Today, a guy competing in the 90s, if he was sleeping and then wake up today, he probably gonna be not recognize what he's watching because it's so different. I think, man, I think it's just like the market to realize the need, the need for that. You know what I mean? There's so many instructions from so many things, and I think it's a way to reach different people in different places and places where they don't have so much access to jiu-jitsu. And then those instructions start, and I believe it helped so many people over the years. But I believe like some other people doesn't need that help. Some other people can just go to the gym and train. But when you don't have a gym, when you just have your garage and 2, 3 neighbors for training, you need some instructor. You need someone to help you to figure that out, or help you to teaching something. So I think if you know how to use the instructions well, I think it can be such an incredible tool. But when you don't know how to use the instructor, at some point you overload your head with so much information.
Yeah.
And information, too much information is no information. Sometimes I say, to people like how much like imagine you in a dinner with somebody, you, your wife, and then a couple of friends, and then one of those guys start talking about everything. Everything. You talk about the moon, he knows everything about the moon. You talk about this, he knows everything about the table. When that guy, in some point, you're gonna look to your wife, you're gonna look to your friend, and say, man, what time you finish that dinner? Because it's
Yeah.
boring as hell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because at some point, you wanna say something about the moon. Somebody else maybe compliment what you said. Your wife gonna come and say a little bit different thinking. Maybe your opinion gonna be different than her opinion because you heard something in middle school. You know what I mean? And that's the whole thing in jiu-jitsu too. But now we have that person. I think the person just focus about getting instruction, and not really practice those positions. It's like those kids, they finish college and they do another course, and they do another course, and they still live and they have no social. They don't know even how to drive a car. You know what I mean? Like we have to be very careful. Jiu-jitsu guy maybe not going to that direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and we often we actually talked to a few old school guys, even like generation before you, and it's such an interesting topic to talk about because even like when I was starting, and I'm sure it's the same thing for you because you were much earlier than me, but like there was no videos, there was no even, there was no books, like there was a Gracie Mag, that was the only thing that really like that's the only thing out there, right? And then if you wanted to see anything, you had to go to the tournament, and like that was the only way to really learn new things, that somebody developed something, right? Today everything is on the phone, everything
Yeah.
is on the phone, and everything is accessible right now from anybody, and the saturation of the information is so large that I feel that a lot of students, they don't even know how to use it. They're not studying jujitsu. They are just looking at one thing and they're hoping to memorize it, but they are not studying, which I think, and tell me what you think about this, but I think, 20 or 30 years ago, we were studying it differently. We were trying to analyze situations. We're trying to learn and figure things out, which today is very, very different, isn't it?
For me, look, I keep saying to my students, for the guys, sorry to say that, but I say this several times. but you guys choose to learn jiu-jitsu on the worst time ever.
Yeah.
Oh, but and then people look at me. Why? Because there's so much out there. All right. I know on your way to come here, by the time you pick it up something, all right, maybe you're gonna have something arrive on your Instagram, gonna pop out for you. It's just a new instruction, a new video, a new this, a new that. This is before jiu-jitsu. You have a problem to retain the information you practice here, and now you still getting more information from cell phone. So I keep telling this for them, but the idea is, some things, I remember the priest when I baptized my kids, they told me, hey kids, he told to me a long time ago, the only thing I'm asking you to have with your kids patient, because you're gonna say, don't put your hand there, don't put your hand there, don't put your hand there. And then at some point, hopefully they learn. All right, and so far I have 17, 14, and 13, and then they start learning pretty well things. But that's the thing I keep saying to my students, you know what I mean? I believe I have students, they carry, you know, whole idea, is continue to talk to them to make sure they come to the school. All right. Hey guys, today the class wasn't so hard, correct? That's a good reason to come tomorrow. Hey guys, open next Sunday. All right, try make it. Hey guys, Saturday after class, stay around, go over some techniques. But today, sometimes we have 1 hour class, and after 1 hour class, as soon hit 7:30, people have to leave right away. All right. And for me, when I growing up, the best part of the mat was the end of the class, where I can really move my gear out and go over techniques, teasing somebody, laugh with someone, talk to somebody else. And then after 45 minutes, somebody remember we're still there and somebody kick us out. All right, until we have the key, and then at some point we don't care more about the process. So I want to push my guys to go into that direction, because in that direction is the direction all those world champion, all those people, they do good jiu-jitsu today, and you guys like to follow. They do. The formula for those guys, doing well, pretty much is not like a 1 hour and go home. It's not like watching a bunch of things before you come into class and try those things and not even worry about your teacher, teach you. The formula from those world champions is like spend time on the mat, after class, hang out, you know what I mean? Do things with the guys from the school, set up drills, set up like an open match together, you know what I mean? Making sure any free time, put it in, because more time you put it in, more things you're gonna pull out. But some people, they take a while. But as an instructor, my job is not even teaching jiu-jitsu sometimes, because I tell to them, hey, this blue belt here gonna teach you something. This purple belt gonna show you something. This brown belt gonna show you something. My job in jiu-jitsu sometimes is just keeping the guys in the right path, making the guys instead go like this, maybe go in a straight line. As soon as I feel this guy, going a little bit to his right, boom, bringing him to left, bringing him to the middle. I think that's our biggest goal, because if we can keep people in the gym, coming there 3-4 times a week, everybody will learn jiu-jitsu, everybody. But if people switch jiu-jitsu, for everything else, you know what I mean, and they think it just, this or that can help, it's not going to help. What help jiu-jitsu is being in the gym.
So is it the way I'm looking at it right now? What you're saying is that you need to do more and receive less. Like if you're just there doing the work and that's what you're focused on, stop trying to receive more information. That information is going to come organically rather than just always in your face and then it turning into a distraction.
Yeah, I believe if you there 3 times a week, all right, you're gonna maybe see 1 position or 2 positions a week. All right, you maybe making sure you don't forget, making sure you put enough reps, making sure you start hitting those techniques. Next week you do the same thing. Next week do the same thing. Imagine how many techniques you're gonna have in 1 month, 2 months, 6 months. You'll be so many. But hopefully those techniques, all right, they connecting, together. Yeah. Hopefully you can start putting sequences where it can help you to memorize the techniques. Hopefully those sequences can help you to come to open mat and practice those sequences that flow with your partner. And then at some point now, we have somebody doing jiu-jitsu. But now with sometimes people spending time watching things, and in some point people sometimes today, all right, they so worry about making a question even before they try and understand the move. You finish explain something before the person even try. I have guys raise your arm, come here to help. But did you try one time? No, I didn't get it well. Oh my gosh, man. And then you hear there and say, man, you know, those guys have no clue, correct? They have no clue how it used to be, you know, back in the days where sometimes, yeah, he talked to you one time. If you go over there and ask again, now he's gonna make you feel so stupid, all right? You're gonna be quiet for the rest of the day because he's gonna he's gonna call you a name, he's gonna find a nickname for you. So better be quiet. You know what I mean? And the thing is, some students they have no clue about that. And then sometimes I go there. But in some point, say, guys, look, I know you want to know the armbar, but before you ask about the armbar, just do the scissor sweep here, do the bump sweep here, do a couple times for me. And after that, tomorrow, we're gonna come tomorrow. No, but tomorrow I talk about the armbar. If not coming tomorrow, when you come again, we can talk. But it's one position today, just one, and you don't know this one well. You're doing wrong. You hold the elbow, not hold the wrist. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I need to make this one feel in a way where he understands I'm the boss here. All right. You came here to learn from me and not the other way around. And then one time he understands that, he probably going to be start opening himself to learn. If he's trying to be the teacher there,
Yeah.
all right, like some people they like to do in jiu-jitsu gyms, that's become trouble.
Yeah, that does become trouble for sure. Do you think people are less patient today than they used to be when you were starting?
I think so. I think patience today is one of the most valuable things people need to acquire, and sometimes they have no clue how to do. You know what I mean? And I think patience is one of those things. If you don't have in jiu-jitsu, I always tell to my guys, like I sometimes I see guys doing a trial, and I ask him, hey, let's go think of his name is Marcos, and the other guy is Paulo. All right. So imagine Marcos dying to go to Disneyland with his parents. Okay. And his parents said they're going to go this summer, they're going to go. But as soon Marcos arrived in Disneyland and he realized in July is a big line, all right, Marcos start crying, start getting upset, bad mood, all right, stay in line, waiting, but this is not the way he want to do Disneyland. And then Paulo, all right. Paulo is the guy always dreamed to go to Disneyland. And then he go to the same month to Disneyland. And then when he got over there, he realized a big line too, but Paulo is so happy to be there with his family. He's so happy. During the line time, he always make jokes with his family. He always having fun with his sister. And I say to him, you in jiu-jitsu, you think you're gonna be Paulo or you're gonna be Marcos? Yeah. Or I'm a little bit more like Marcos. Or if you like Marcos, jiu-jitsu is not for you. But if you're going to be Paulo, all right, you're probably going to be doing your own jiu-jitsu because jiu-jitsu, man, he wants to join, all right, yeah, looks exciting the first few days because you get something new until you start getting a little tough, all right? And during the tough part, that's the time a lot of people, they quit, okay, because they can handle. They can handle, they think they're not going to be finding the way out. But try explain me why that shit becomes so popular all over the world. We probably have something, all right, very, very interesting, correct? If you quit now, you're never going to find out. And you're probably going to blame the art, saying, all right, the art is this. Okay, you're not special, all right? You just need to try to put a little bit more patience, a little bit more time into it. And I believe if you break that barrier, all right, and go through, keep going without really push yourself. I have to submit this guy. I have to do this. I have to. If you start putting pressure on yourself, all right, and just come into the gym training, all right, listen, all right, smile, okay, doing the warm up, come on time, drink your water, eat well, stop drinking, don't smoke. If you stop doing some things you do outside here, because I know what you're doing. I saw your Facebook the other day. I know the parties you like. You start on Thursday and finish Sunday morning. I know all that. If you're slowing down there, I promise you're gonna learn some jiu-jitsu. But some people, they don't wanna, get the position I got today. I really quit. I really never did a bunch of things I was supposed to do when I was 17, 18. And I don't regret at all, because the way I said, the feeling I felt was much bigger than anything. Some people, they don't want to give up about something. All right. So if you don't want to give up about certain things, sometimes it's hard to accomplish some other things too. So I need to really go a little deeper in the conversation with some students to making sure they understand, how much you have to put in to making sure you become good on something. Or I'll say something like anything, jiu-jitsu, anything.
Yeah, that's the hard part, right? That we have to give some things up in order for us to gain something else. And it's in life and in jiu-jitsu, on and off the mat. And ultimately we all make decisions for ourselves, like us as instructors, we can only guide the students. They have to make the choices, right? It's really all up to them. It's really up to them. Before we start wrapping this up, what we do at the end of every episode, we have a question from our previous guest. So our previous guest was on the show. He asked a question, but he didn't know that you will be answering it. So he kind of asked completely in blind. And Gary is going to ask you the question. It always creates an interesting end of the conversation.
Yeah. So this is from Bruno Bastos. And Bruno, not knowing how much you've already accomplished, wants to know, how do you see yourself in jiu-jitsu in 10 years?
All right. So in 10 years.
So you're going to be 50s, right?
I'm going to be, I'm 44 now. I will be 54. All right. I will be probably a little near to the age of my coach, and like the way I said, my coach is one of my biggest idol. All right. And definitely one of the guys I have a deep respect. And today he trained, I think, twice or 3 times a week. The thing that the days he train, he teaches. And he's really into MMA a lot. So he's coached a lot of MMA guys. So he travels a lot. So I believe, if I still running my gym, all right, go over there and then training and teaching my 2 or 3 classes a week, all right, to be in contact with the students, have a big passion with kids as well. Love to work with kids. Definitely one of those 3 classes, 1 or 2 going to be kids for sure. But I'm a very simple guy, you know what I mean? So for me, see my kids growing now, be near to my wife, stay near home, and then having jiu-jitsu as part of my life. I don't see my life going to a different business or growing to having like a 300 schools. No, I'm very happy with what I'm having today, and then definitely continue doing my seminars and traveling to doing some referee events. But definitely I keep doing what I'm doing. Like I'm happy now, I'm healthy, and I'm not looking for create any type of situation where getting older and be away more. I was away a lot in the beginning when I moved to US. And then now anything I can do to stay a little closer to my family, I will be doing for sure.
Phenomenal. I meant to ask you this at the beginning of the conversation, and I kind of forgot. I do want to ask you right now. A lot of people that actually don't know that Shaolin is not your last name. It's actually your nickname. That nickname became so popular that a lot of people forget about your name. So where did this come from? What's the story behind Shaolin?
Yeah, man, Shaolin. I got checks with Shaolin before. I got airplane tickets with Shaolin before. Sometimes it's a mess. You know what I mean? It's cool nickname, but sometimes people they don't realize it's not my last name. It's a nickname. So everything happened when I was 14. I believe on those second, third week of training. I was training, and then I think before the class started, I was 14 years old trying to show off, didn't know anybody, and then all of a sudden I feel like I stay in the corner of the gym, that's like a Shaolin pose like this with my hands and with my leg crossed in the corner, and someone saw and said, "Oh, looks like a Shaolin monk." And then at some point, hey, Shaolin, and became so popular in Brazil. When I moved to US and continued to fight MMA, always was Vitor Shaolin, never Vitor Ribeiro. You know what I mean? And then in Japan was, and because we have Vitor Belfort too, He's a Vitor Belfort, but you Shaolin. So I think it's definitely something. Nicknames sometimes can come in a tough way. Normally they got stuck when you don't like, but this nickname I never had nothing against. And I'm start because a funny thing I used to do when I was younger, and then it's really helped my whole career. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love that story because it what I understand, it started very, very early on. Like this was
Very
a
early.
month or two into your training, right? Like
very, very early. And then as soon people start calling, because in Brazil they used to have Ninja, Shogun, Van Damme, you know what I mean? And some point, I think Shaolin was available, and they throw that 1 year. I think a guy is, he's a doctor today and black belt, a friend of mine. And then just became very natural. And then everybody, like me, my coach, and couple of friends, we call each other, a different thing. But everybody else, like somebody in the gym call me Vitor, I feel, whoa, just my wife call me Victor, my man. You call me Shaolin. You know what I mean? So you need to call me Shaolin.
That's awesome. What a phenomenal story. I love it. All right, Professor. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your time and your story, your wisdom, your experiences with us, Gary.
Yeah, thank you so much for everything, for being here, for taking time out of your schedule. I know there was some issues with you and where you are today, so I really appreciate you coming through for us. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you,
Anything,
guys. Where
can people find you before you disconnect? But where can people find you if anybody wants to connect with you? Are you on social media, websites? Where are you available? Just in case anybody wants to connect with you.
Yeah, Shaolin BJJ is my website. I have 2 gyms, right? One in New Jersey, Scott Plains, another one in New York, Times Square. And I divide myself between those 2 gyms, but I'm a little bit more in New Jersey today than New York. New York, we have some great instructors over there, teaching, but I'm there like 2 or 3 times a week. But yeah, I'm on social media. I'm not a big guy on social media. Sometimes I repost some stuff, or sometimes I have a little something in the gym and then I post, but I'm not big guy on create content, to put over there every single day. I leave this for my some young students I have, and they put something over there sometimes.
That's what the young students are for. That's right.
Yes.
Well, Professor, one more time, thank you for being here. We'll be watching from the sidelines. We'll post all the links right in our show notes, so everybody wants to connect with you, they'll do through that. And then again, thank you for being here. What a great story. What a great life.
Thank you.
We appreciate everything you've done.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Peace.
Thank you for listening to Rol Radio. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to leave us a review and help us make the show even more amazing. For future episodes, check out our website and follow us on all major podcast platforms. Take care.